Meme boys worldwide are jumping for joy right now as Bitcoin shows its first signs of possibly confirming a ginormous giga inverse head and shoulders bust out big time. With bear boys holding their breath and squeezing their cheeks, desperately holding on to their 10K shorts. Is something big about to happen? Or something even bigger than that? Bitcoin has just potentially begun its breakout of this ginormous, bullish continuation pattern. But what if I told you that's not even half as exciting as what comes next? So if you understand that Bitcoin is up over $50,000 from its $15,000 low at the bottom of the bear market, but you also understand that the pump hasn't even begun yet, hit that like, hit that subscribe, get sent out to FEMAX below if you want Bitcoin or altcoins, and without any further ado, let's completely cover ourselves in knowledge on these charts. Where we see right now on Bitcoin's daily chart, you might be looking at this and thinking, okay, you know, a little bit of a green candle. This isn't too big. But what I'm about to show you is actually extremely big. So you look at the, maybe you put some lines, you put some moving averages on here. What do you see? Wow, well, actually Bitcoin has now gone above the 21-day moving average for the most convincing micro bust since falling below it well over a month ago. But also, Bitcoin at this very second, and again, we could get an intraday rejection, we could get a weekly candle rejection, right? But as of right now, or at least so far what we've seen on these charts, is that Bitcoin has been able to have its first move above the 50-day moving average since falling below it back at the beginning of April. In fact, we got that move back on about April 22nd, where it immediately got rejected. We saw that, right? On April 22nd, Monday, April 22nd. And this is our very first time coming up to the 50-day moving average since then. So that's big. Not to mention, this inverse head and shoulders pattern potentially is in the midst of beginning its breakout. Its breakout being above 70,000 US dollars if it's fully, completed. Okay. So, this is not the breakout of the inverse head and shoulders. This would be the beginning of the breakout of the inverse head and shoulders. We also look on the weekly chart for Bitcoin. Again, we had this beautiful weekly candle back on the last week of April. We had then afterwards a little bit of a sideways but red weekly candle here. And now things are kind of shaping up and looking more similar to confirming that, hey, maybe we are going to have one of these fake outs on the weekly where we've talked about this, where we see this bearish MACD cross. We see it on the RSI as well. People look on these longer term charts and think, wow, maybe this is a bearish signal. But actually, that happened right before Bitcoin completely exploded back in late 2020, very late 2020, Q4 2020, and had its most rampant or most biggest upside bust of the entire bull market previously. So that's one thing. We also see on the daily chart for Bitcoin, the Bollinger Bands, we are, as we just said, we're right at the 50-day moving average. We're above the 21-day, but we're potentially about to see a big squeeze out of these Bollinger Bands, finally start to see them kind of expand instead of just contracting for the past, really, they've been contracting like crazy for the past 2 months, And daily momentum is picking up a little bit. I would hold your horses a little bit. As I said, as I've been saying, we really want to get some daily closes above this moving average. So above 65,000 is great. But we are seeing, because again, we saw CPI come back in the direction that we wanted today, showing that, hey, even though it is rocky and bumpy, as to be honest, everyone expects, well, anybody like the Fed and people that are paying attention are expecting this to be bumpy and not just an easy ride to Lollipop and Rainbow Town in terms of gainers, but we're getting there. It seems like we're getting there. And the market likes that, and Bitcoin is pumping on that. We also see, look, you put it on the 4-hour chart. Clearly, there's been some sort of descending channel we've been in, and I haven't touched this in like a week, except to just extend the line, because I kind of ignored it for a week because I wasn't even looking at charts for a week. But anyway, we initially came up here. We kind of fought right at this line. Now it looks like we're getting a bounce off of here, off of this channel, which lines up. When you see TA that just lines up everywhere, that's what's beautiful. And that to me is what's always been the most consistent. Maybe it's a falling channel like this. We're breaking out, or descending channel. Maybe it's the inverse head and shoulders. We're also breaking out. Maybe it's these moving averages, the key moving averages you want to look at on the weekly and daily chart. They're also kind of showing us the same thing. We're also seeing the stock market, obviously. It's not necessary, but I think it's very, very important that that's doing well, and it is. We're also seeing the US dollar get dumped on. The US dollar continues to get dumped on, and this is a trend. I've been saying this. I think the US dollar is going to be getting dumped on for months and months and months to come over the longer term, and I think that's what's most important. Now, I also want to highlight a few things. So global liquidity is huge, and global liquidity seems to be forming some sort of bullish ascending triangle we see here. Expected breakout before October 2024, so within the next 5 months. Bitcoin 2025 will be one for the record books, according to Willy Hu. For the global liquidity, he's using the M2 money stock for CNY, USD, Euros, Japanese yen, British pound, and then this formula basically. But basically, yeah, is global liquidity lining up for a massive upside bust? We also see, according to Super Bro on X, that Bitcoin's 3-day chart, piercing below the lower Bollinger Band, has marked every major low since the bear market bottom. Since the bear market has bottomed out. And we look at this chart, we have done the same thing. Are we about to have a very big upside continuation? I think it's very possible. Bitcoin, now keep in mind, if we get a pullback on the day or something, this has already been a like 6-7% move to the upside for Bitcoin on the day. But if we're able to actually get back above this 21, stay above the 21-day moving average, but more importantly, get above this 50-day moving average, that is a massive massive signal, okay? The Bitcoin halving is behind us now. Bitcoin is Bitcoin basically, in my opinion, is green lit to begin its most parabolic upside explosion. I personally think that it would be better if it's a little pushed out, maybe another 1 or 2 months from now. But if this real breakout starts now, maybe we go up to 75,000 and maybe 80,000 and trade around 80,000 for a month, and then maybe get some pullbacks, but a lot of sideways mainly. And then from 80 to 85,000, we just make a quick move above 100, and then maybe that quick move above 100 turns into 150 or whatever the top might be. I think that we do need to start preparing for just that giga move that happens extremely, extremely fast. And I'm just going to say it. If you're in profits once that happens, then that's not a mistake to then take profit. Okay? If you've been waiting around for 4 years for a real bull market and then all of a sudden you're up a good amount, don't be afraid to take profit. Okay? I guess taking profit is always better than not taking any profit. I'm not saying take cash everything out, but I'm saying if you're in a good position, it never really hurts to maybe take something off. Now, I'm not saying we're there at all yet. I'm saying that once this next giga move happens, I think that that's where me personally, and I think a lot of people are going to start looking to say, hey, maybe scale out a little bit or de-risk a little bit. But maybe then then Bitcoin doubles after that, and a lot of people are missing out. That's the fear people have. That's why a lot of people don't do it, is because they're afraid, oh, what if it just keeps going up and I could have made way more. But realistically, the bigger issue is what ends up happening most of the time isn't that people sell too early, it's that people never sell at all. Both are issues, right? Both are things you want to try to avoid. You want to try to avoid selling too early. You want to avoid round tripping and going, right back to where you started and making no gains. You want to avoid both of those. But I think the thing most people end up doing is not making any gains at all. So this is exciting. And get set up with FEMX or BINGX below for my Bitcoin or altcoins. Without further ado.